Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Charles Langston, docket number 20-634FH. And I'm told this is the time set for a plea. Mr. Stevens, which count or counts is it a plea to?
Count 1 and 2 as a habitual offender, fourth offense.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Langston, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Mr. Langston, you have the right to be represented by an attorney. You are represented by Mr. White, who is present. And Mr. White, I'm told he's pleading to counts 1 and 2 as a habitual fourth offender. If that's correct, would you waive reading of the balance of the information?
That's correct, Your Honor, and there is an agreement to go over to.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Mr. Stevens, would you read then, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. People of the State of Michigan versus Charles Langston, docket number 20634FH, State of Michigan, County of Ingham. The name of the people of the State of Michigan, the prosecuting attorney for this county appears before the court and informs the court that on or about the date of May 25th, 2020, at or near the location of 519 East Edgewood Boulevard in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, the defendant did first in count 1 carry a dangerous weapon, to wit, a pistol, whether concealed or otherwise, in a vehicle operated or occupied by said defendant, to wit, a Chevrolet Malibu, contrary to state law. This offense is known as weapons carrying concealed. It's a felony punishable by 5 years and or $2,500 fine, mandatory forfeiture of weapon or device. The defendant did also in count 2 possess a firearm when ineligible to do so because he or she had been convicted of carrying a concealed weapon, a felony punishable by imprisonment of 4 years or more, and the requirements for regaining eligibility had not yet been met, contrary to state law. This offense is known as weapons, firearms, possession by a felon. It is a felony punishable by 5 years and or $5,000 fine, mandatory forfeiture of weapon or device. Take notice that the defendant was previously convicted of 3 or more felonies or attempts to commit felonies in that on or about the date of February 11, 2009, he or she was convicted of the offense of possession of a controlled substance in violation of state law in the 30th Circuit Court for Ingham County, State of Michigan. And on or about August 24th, 2011, he or she was convicted of the offense of possession of a controlled substance in violation of state law in the 30th Circuit Court for Ingham County, State of Michigan. And on or about June 15, 2016, he or she was convicted of the offense of receiving and concealing a stolen firearm in violation of state law in the 30th Circuit Court for Ingham County, State of Michigan. Therefore, Mr. Langston, the defendant, is subject to the penalties provided by MCL 769.12. Meaning that in this instance, because the underlying felonies are punishable by 5 years or more, these are all life offenses. The maximum penalty cannot be less than the maximum term for the first conviction. The court shall order law enforcement to collect DNA identification profiling samples before sentencing or disposition, if not taken at arrest. And these offenses were done against the peace and dignity of the people of the state of Michigan.
Mr. Langston, you're being charged here in count 1 with having a pistol in an automobile, and then in count 2 with being a felon in possession of a firearm. Those are both felonies, and because the prosecutor is proceeding against you as a habitual fourth offender, it makes the maximum penalty life or any term of years. And if it were any term of years, you need to know that if you were on parole at the time you committed these offenses, it would be a mandatory consecutive sentence. Have you had enough time to talk about these charges with your lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand the charges against you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about what we're doing?
I understand that I did wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, denying, the punishment. But what I'm saying is I have children. I'm an everyday father. I'm a businessman. I work. I've been in no trouble. You feel me?
I get it. I know. I understand, Mr. Langston. And I promise you, I'll give you a chance to say all that and more at some point in this case, and I will take it into account. But right now, as far as like procedurally what we're doing, do you have any questions about it?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and how do you want to plead?
Plead guilty, Your Honor.
Mr. Langston, if your plea of guilty is accepted by this court, it means you won't have a trial of any kind, and you'll be giving up the rights that go along with a trial. That means you'll give up the right to a trial by jury, or if you didn't want trial by jury, trial by judge. You'll give up your right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, and to require the prosecutor to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You'll give up your right to have the witnesses against you appear at the trial and to be able to cross-examine them, as well as your right to have this court order any witnesses that you might have to appear at the trial. You'll give up your right to remain silent at the trial and not to have your silence used against you, or in the alternative, to testify at the trial if you wanted to. There's also a couple of things about appeals that are different when you plead guilty. The first one is you don't get an automatic right to have the next higher court look at your case. Instead, you have to ask them to look at it. They would have to agree. And the other thing that's different is when you plead guilty, there are many issues you simply cannot appeal, which is different from people who go to trial. If they get convicted, they can appeal pretty much everything. Do you understand those rights, Mr. Langston?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, if I accept your plea, it means you cannot come back later on and try to say that the plea was the result of some promise or threat that no one told me about today. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
It also means you can't come back later on and try to say that it really wasn't your own choice to plead guilty today. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there a plea agreement, Mr. Stevens?
Thank you, Your Honor. There is. The defendant will be tendering a guilty plea to count 1 and count 2 as a habitual offender, 4th offense. Upon successful plea and sentence to those counts, the people will move to dismiss the balance of the information. Additionally, pursuant to the plea agreement, the parties have entered into a sentence agreement in this matter. And that sentence agreement is that the defendant's minimum sentence shall be fixed by this court at 36 months with the Michigan Department of Corrections for each count.
And Mr. White, is that a full and complete statement?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Langston, you heard all that? Is that your understanding of the agreement as well?
To be honest, Your Honor, I don't want it to be, but I mean, it's really not much I can do.
Well, I understand that you don't like it, and I don't blame you, but this is the time to state whether you agree with it or not. And
I agree with it.
okay. Now, Mr. Langston, there is an agreement about your sentence, and that is that it would be a Michigan Department of Corrections sentence where the low end would be fixed at 36 months. If for some reason I said, no, I think you should have more time than that, I would tell you before I sentenced you, and I'd give you a chance if you wanted to take back this plea and start over. You got all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Has anyone promised you anything else that hasn't been said here right now, today, in order to get you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Anyone used any threats?
No, Your Honor.
Is this your own choice?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading guilty because you believe you are in fact guilty of these offenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we're talking about on or about May 25th of 2020. Tell me what you did on that date regarding this pistol.
Your Honor, the only thing that I did wrong, Your Honor, was have a concealed weapon in my vehicle. That's it.
You had the pistol in your vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, and did you know that it was in your vehicle?
To be honest, I didn't, but I did in a way because I've been moving around and stuff like that. So, no.
Well, had you put it there?
Yeah, once before. So.
You had put it there, so you knew that it was there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and had you been previously convicted of carrying a concealed weapon?
Yes, Your Honor.
And had you regained your rights to possess a weapon under the law?
No, not yet, Your Honor.
All right. And this happened on Edgewood Boulevard in Lansing, Ingham County, is that correct?
I think so, Your Honor. I'm not really for sure. I haven't been over there in a while, so I don't know.
Okay. It's in Ingham County though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Has the court complied with MCR 6.302, Mr. Stevens?
You have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. White?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than those already placed on the record, Mr. Stevens?
None, Your Honor.
Mr. White?
Nor am I, Your Honor.
The court finds the plea is understandingly and voluntarily made without undue influence, threats, or promises of leniency. It is an accurate plea. It's supported by the testimony. The plea is accepted. I have a sentencing date of Monday, August 16th at 4:30. And that will be here at the courthouse. So, Mr. Langston, you'll need to be here in the courthouse in front of me on Monday, August 16th at 4:30. Oh, I should check. Mr. White, is that date okay for you?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe it is. There's a jury trial scheduled, but I'm not at all sure it'll go. So we can
Okay.
either go, we can go out a week or, in which case I'm sure it'll be completed.
Yeah, okay. No, we'll do the 16th and we'll hope that things work out. So, Mr. Langston, again, you'll need to be back here. You'll need to be here in front of me on Monday, August 16th at 4:30. And the other thing you need to do that's very important is to call the Adult Probation Department. Mr. White can help you if you need their contact number, and tell them you need to set up an interview. They do an interview with you. It'll be remote, but they'll do an interview with you for the report that I'll use for sentencing. So it is very important. Your bond is continued. And do you have any questions before we go, Mr. Langston?
No, I don't.
Okay, great. Then we're all set. Thank you.